Wow. Interesting.
I locked the door.
Okay, no, Eileen.
Well, she said she would talk to me in the morning, and I took that to be she wasn't coming in.
Okay.
And how you doing?
Wonderful. How's Martha?
She's hanging in there.
Okay.
Oh, look at this.
You can crunch on that if you want to. It's chocolate chip cookie I got for Father's Day. They cut up and sliced it, and I said, well, maybe we'll leave it in the morning. We'll see what happens.
That's great.
Mike's here.
Good morning.
Hi, Mike. How was the trip?
Good, real good.
After. Zoom really is. And that's it. We've got 3 minutes to go.
So, Mike, was it your son, his wife, was there a child involved? It's the way. Son is
Hello? Cliff? Hello? Yeah. Okay, you're there. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Your son and daughter-in-law have any kids?
What is that about kids?
Steve?
Still breaking up. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call.
Hey, Mike?
Yeah, I tried. You kept breaking. On senior. So, yeah, he had a good time. Yeah, he was busy. Their school has water polo. So,
Now, when you're in Mike's musical,
well, I called in, John, because the phone kept dropping out, so I wanted to
I
be.
understand the question.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dawn Patrol. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. And I noticed that I am doing the Dennis the Menace thing with my hair. I thought I'd got it brushed down. On the telephone, it turns out, is Mike Smith, who's been off on vacation for a couple of weeks. And how was your cruise, Mike? Good?
Yeah, it was good. Went on celebrity cruises, and we went to Grand Caymans and Jamaica were three of the stops. We went on for a week.
Good.
So the weather was good. It was hot, but the weather was real good. Before I went on the cruise, we went up to Universal Studios in Florida for 2 days. Rode all the roller coasters. So, well, that was fun too. And then my son and his wife and my grandson, they came back and they left on Thursday after we got back, and they're up in Akron, Ohio now. They flew up to Pennsylvania to see his mom, and then they went up to Ohio and going back to New York after that.
Where in Pennsylvania?
They were in Pittsburgh,
Oh,
where they were having the U.S. Open there this
Yeah.
weekend.
so weather down there was good, but up here today, we've got at least misting, maybe light fog. The temperature driving in was 55. It's supposed to go up to 74. So it's a little cool and scuzzy, but it won't be all bad.
Yeah, it's 82 right now, but I think it feels like 86, 87. We might get a little bit of rain hit this morning, a little shower, but the rest of the day will be hot. It's been hot here in Florida. It's definitely, the humidity is usually high in the morning, and then it tapers off.
So on this day in history in 1632, the Plymouth Company granted a land patent to Thomas Purchase for the first settler of Penobscot, Maine, settling the site of Fort Andros. So, in 1745, during the War of Austrian Succession, New England colonial troops under the command of William Pepperell captured the fortress of Louisbourg in New France. In 1755, during the French and Indian War, the French surrendered Fort Bouzières to the British, leading to the expulsion of the Acadians to Louisiana and Maine. They became the Cajuns.
The occasions.
Yeah. So, this is Eileen, my co-host. How are you,
Good
Eileen?
morning, everybody. Happy last day of school to most of the greater Lowell area.
How about
We're like
Methuen?
that. It's our last day. We have a half day today.
Ah.
Yep.
So, the fate of the Acadians was summarized in a poem by Longfellow, Evangeline, which I learned when I was in elementary school. We don't do that anymore?
Well, we teach kids in elementary school about how to write a haiku. 575,
Yeah.
right? I don't know if we delve really deep into the whole poetry thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot has been lost.
You need to move the mic closer to you. Please, 4 inches from your mouth.
I asked my grandson, he didn't have a clue.
Well, yeah, and that's sad, right? But I love when we come around to it, like
4 inches from your mouth.
in fourth grade, and it's like, is this better?
As long as you look at it, when you look at it closer, it goes away. Okay, good.
All right. I think it's good because the kids break down syllables again, right?
Yeah.
5 syllables in the first line, 7 in the next, and it's a good check to see do they even know what a syllable is, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I like learning poetry and the haiku in fourth grade, honestly, because it's devastating when you realize some of these kids don't know what a syllable is.
Well, we let them promote them when they can't read.
And we,
We have to stop that.
no,
You know those retards down in Mississippi? If you can't read, you can't go to 5th grade.
That's one of those words you can't use.
yeah, I was gonna say.
What? What word was that?
Yeah,
What?
you said those retards in Mississippi.
Oh, that word.
Yeah, that one. And it's hard because I think people who are deemed that are sometimes the most exceptional people that we know. So it's really, I don't know.
We'll get back to that. Go ahead, Mike.
It's interesting you talk about syllables because even though my son and his wife, my grandson are on, vacation, their school's still going on in New Zealand. They were reading every day and they worked on syllables, sounding out everything as he's reading and making sure that he understands what all those different syllables are. Every day they were doing reading, even though they're on vacation. Sit down. They had a Kindle and they'd read. And he read a story to me one day. Went through it. So it's we forget that the school isn't the be all end all. That parents have to do their job, and it's not easy with them being busy and whatever else they're doing. But if you don't get the reinforcement at home, school can only just do so much.
Yeah, no, and almost, I feel like with my son, it's kind of flip-flopped, right? Because,
Eileen, the microphone is more important than your laptop. There you go.
here we go, we're good. Because he's.
4 inches is 4 inches. I know I'm being,
I feel like it's in my mouth.
okay.
Oh, it's not even on. Okay.
No
that would make
wonder,
sense.
okay.
I could hear you fine, Eileen. I could hear her.
Thanks.
Beautiful, thank you.
It wasn't even on him. I don't know what happened.
We were talking about Anthony.
Yes. And it's hard for me as a teacher because I always wanted to promote learning and books and reading, and I would read to him, and he had just no appreciation for it. But I didn't realize how much of a struggle it was for him. And so now that he has this school that's like a perfect fit for him, he wants to learn at school. He wants to see his progression in reading in the Wilson program and in math. And I love that. And he's asked me now, like, Mom, can you teach that program? Can you bring it home over the summer? Because I want to go up on this level. I'm like, absolutely. But it wasn't something I could be like, all right, let's sit down and do this, right? He needed to want to. And like, he likes seeing his scores go up. And I find that with a lot of kids, like even my students like to see their progress. They want to see their progression. Like they're kind of getting into that. But it was nothing I could ever force upon him and say, all right, you sit down right now and we're going to do this. Because he wasn't receptive to it. But now that he's asking me, it makes me happy.
Yeah, I've seen students be more motivated when they find something that interests them. So if they get to the right books or the right subjects, they will work harder because they want to be more knowledge from that, or they're interested in it. And I think that's the key to for parents or for the teachers. If they can find what motivates them, what their interests are, they will progress right along the scale.
Yeah, I love seeing that, especially these sixth graders who lost a good chunk of first grade and second grade due to COVID, and it's tough to engage them. And though I just feel like the worst thing for a lot of these kids is giving them a Chromebook too to learn to read. There's so many reading programs online, but I don't like to use that in any way, shape, or form to teach reading, because I think it needs to be an interactive. We're talking about it. We're making sense of it with our language and our brains. And I think just, I work with teachers that put their kids on Lexia. I think Lexia is a great program and Read Live, but I don't think it's good for students to have that blue light attention, because when they go home, that's all they do.
Yeah, we're losing that interaction because everybody texts each other. They don't talk on the phone. They don't interact face to face, and that can be somewhat troubling if you can't interact with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in 1824, a meeting at Old Slaughter's Coffee House in London led to the formation of what is now the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, in which we have our own spin-off here in the United States.
Cliff,
John,
Fru has no internet.
what do you mean, who has no internet?
Fru.
Fru
Oh, Fru has no internet.
has no internet this morning, so he won't be here.
Okay. So you want to call in?
I'll text him.
All right.
Do you want me to call him on my phone and I can put it on this microphone?
Text.
Okay.
Oh, we could, thank you.
All right, in 1836, the formation of the London Working Men's Association gives rise to the Charterist movement, which was a lower-class effort to reform Parliament. They had 7 objectives. The Charterist movement died, but they got 6 of their 7. Not bad.
Charterists.
Yeah, Charterist.
Can you?
They want a charter. In 1858, Abraham Lincoln delivers his House Divided speech in Springfield, Illinois. The House Divided will not stand. And he was right. He got the Civil War. In 1884, the first purpose-built roller coaster, the Lamarcus Adna Thompson Switchback Railway, opened in New York's Coney Island. That's
Do you
pretty
know
good.
there were no safety devices on that? None.
That
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me at all.
No seat belts, no nothing.
What is it on what Edna Thompson? I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
The
Roller coaster.
First roller coaster.
Oh. All right.
Coney Island, New York.
Yeah, that was the name of the person, Lamarcus Ada Thompson. That was the person who designed it.
Ada Thompson, okay. You know what I find was cool when we went to Tennessee? We went to Gatlinburg and Pigeonhole, Tennessee, and they had mountain coasters. Like you control it yourself. Anthony was so impressed with it, and to me it would scare the life out of me because you're all the way like up on an incline, and you're literally on a mountain, and you're going around a mountain, and you control it yourself. But
Really?
yeah,
Yeah, we had no control of the roller coasters we were going on at Universal. I can tell you that. The one at the Universal Studios called the Riptide, you go up directly at a 90-degree angle, straight up to start.
how
And
long
then
did
you
you
go-
wait for that in line?
We went in the morning. We only waited like 10 minutes in
Oh,
line
that's
to get
awesome.
on that one first thing. So, I mean, it all depends on what time of day you go. But I don't think we waited more than 30 minutes for any one that we went on. You know,
When did you guys go?
we went the first week. We went the week Wednesday and Thursday after Memorial.
Oh, that's kind of a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Most of
Speaking of
the,
sweet spots, we don't read
It
this.
wasn't super busy, and we got to ride. We rode all the roller coasters.
oh, that's awesome.
Go
Yeah,
for it.
so there's one I just thought I'd mention called something to do with the Revenge of the Mummy or something like that. It's inside. You go around and you're going through a tunnel and other stuff, and you go up a hill, and then you go backwards into like a tunnel, and then the whole roller coaster track and everything drops down like 15 or 20 feet to another track. So it's quite a little different the way they do some of those roller coasters. And they have the other ones that go upside down and twisting, and it's quite the engineering design from when we were doing research on. So the one roller coaster they put in, they said cost like $400 million to put in.
I admire your stomach to handle that because I could never. All right, this caller wrote in, most of the kids' problems nowadays are the helicopter parents who don't hold kids responsible for their actions. It's hard. Listen, we have a generation of helicopter kids, and I think we talked about it on this show, that some parents were even going to interviews with some of the kids.
Yeah,
Like they're
not the kids, young adults.
young adults, right? But they're kids, right?
Yes.
And I just feel like there has to be somewhat of a healthy disconnection as your child gets older, because you have to let them go through those growing pains. And it's tough because I can't tell you how many times I was like, I'm gonna kill my kid, right? Like if you hear something at school or something, but then when I hear, he did a good job taking responsibility and understanding what he did from his school, and it makes me feel better because he's processing it, right? And it's a lot easier to think, like, how do I discipline my kid? What's the right way to discipline your kid? But now I feel like also there are so many resources out there to be like, all right, what's the best way to discipline my child? This is his personality type too. I don't know. There is lots of options out there, and none of it's easy as a parent. I don't know what the right answer is. I'm still looking.
Okay.
So the other question I would ask is, why you're talking about holding the kids responsible? What about holding the parents responsible for their non-actions in that they need to let their kids fail to learn how to get through adversity, how to do things. Like if they do poorly on a test in school, the parents need to encourage them, you need to probably work harder or spend more time to be more adept at that subject. I mean, my parents, when I was growing up, if you did bad on a test and they said, okay, now you're going to spend more time studying because you need to put more effort in. Nowadays, the parents go into the school and say, you got to let my kid retake the test. They don't hold their child accountable for you got to put the effort in if you want to succeed.
Right.
And that's what worries me.
I've seen that, and I've had, especially in the district I work in, a certain parent that is like, my child's always right, and you need to, putting it on the teacher, you need to do this, and basically trying to tell a seasoned teacher how to do their job. And it's intense because then they want a certain grade for a kid. And I feel like even administration has got to the point of okay, we're going to just do this. And it's really a sad state of affairs. But we need to let our kids fail to see how they rebound almost.
Yeah.
And that it's a scary part of life, but we all had it, right? And I feel like my mom and dad had 4 kids. I don't think they knew how we were doing in any classes. They were just trying to survive and make things work. And I think they just thought for me, I was quiet. My older brother was the troublemaker. My younger sister was my sister, who's just 2 years younger than me, was the one that did struggle in academics, and they fought for an IEP. And the baby was just the baby. And that's just how it rolled.
John,
Hi, Cliff.
you wanted to say something.
Yeah. Lowell had sadly a failure at trying to teach parents how to be parents. Many parents think that I sent my kid to school, that's your job to teach them, not mine. And you go down to City Hall for your marriage certificate, you just give them money. You don't do anything. You go to the city for anything. They do all the work, you do nothing. So I'm sending my kid to the city school. Teach them. Not my job, your job. And until we teach parents what they should, we have 2 generations now of single mother homes. 2 generations. So we need to throttle back and say, okay, my biggest complaint to the school system is nobody ever stays back. That's not true, okay. Out of 10,000 kids, 2 kids stayed back. There should be 20% of the kids staying back. They can't read. You can't read, how can you possibly go into but the public school system says, nice job, Johnny. Guess what? We know you don't know your left from your right, but You're getting promoted.
I was just sharing with somebody, like, my visual perceptual disorders. Like, I never knew my left from my right. When I would look at a shoe, that was one thing that was so difficult for me. I could read, I could do math, but, like, I couldn't tell, yeah.
Left.
I know. Now I teach kids, like, the BD trick, right? But
What?
like this is the B, this is the D, right? And because I feel like I'm an effective educator because I have had those challenges, and
So what about
honestly-
the suggestion that I read about over the weekend that we don't put boys into school for a year after we put the girls of the same age into school?
I don't think that's good, because I think that kids need to be kids and they need to shake it all out.
But girls are about a year ahead of boys up until, what, 4th, 5th, 6th grade?
Won't fly in Massachusetts.
Well, when are the
Why
boys
not?
ever going to catch up then? Right?
It's a
So that would
democratically run
stagger
state.
them.
There's no logic here. It's a democratically run state. We're all equal. We're all the same. And don't forget, gender doesn't count anymore in Massachusetts.
And, you know, the one thing that I liked about the charter school, I worked at the Lowell Community Charter School on Jackson Street. We developed a K-1 transition class. So those kids that weren't quite ready to go to first grade went to this K-1 transition class. And I believe all school districts need to, like, do a first to second grade transition class. Those kids that aren't quite ready, but they're not holding you back. It's just saying, like, we recognize you had some difficulties, right? But put transition classes in all these areas. But again, that's change and a lot of work, and that's what nobody really.
What are we going to do with the kiddo who can't read, Eileen? And when you're done telling me that, read those two.
Can I read them now?
Go right ahead.
Reading can become fundamental with parent engagement. Agreed. Also, we had bigger families back then, not one household kid families. No kid stays back because it doesn't look good for teachers in schools. I want to say back 2007, 2008, there was a study done that said that keeping a child back actually does social damage,
I know.
social emotional
I'm
damage.
socially damaged.
No, you go to every party.
I stayed back in the second grade.
Right, and that probably made a world of difference for you.
And I loved it the second
Good.
time around because I knew the stuff.
Listen, I struggle with this all the time. I work with kindergarten, second grade, 6th and 7th grade. I struggle with it all the time. And it's like, you have to find that nugget that engages the kid. And if you don't, and I agree with even Danielle McFadden, who says we need to catch up with where our kids are technology-wise, because they're so much smarter than us today. Technologically wise, we need to meet them. And you've said it on this show, like, what are we doing? Like, instead of telling them to put their phones away, figure out a way to integrate it. Or figure out a way to shut off certain apps and integrate it into the curriculum. Something needs to change within the curriculum to be able to reach these kids, because there's not much wrong with their brains. They're way smarter than us in lots of ways.
Have you looked into this thing down in Texas where they're using AI and teaching kids 2 hours a day, and they're maxing out on the Common Core?
I have no clue, but I'll look it up.
All right.
They're maxing, like when you say maxing out on the Common Core, what is that? Like,
Common Core is something that
no, it's a standards, right?
Yeah.
There's state standards, and then there's
Federal,
Common Core,
yeah.
and that's part of the federal, right?
right.
But when you say maxing out, what do you mean?
I mean by maxing out is that they're doing a very good job.
I mean,
Between perfect and where they are, is only a small distance.
All anybody really needs to do is look at our quarterly KPI reports that we get on the school committee, and you'll see it's more than 50% are struggling. And reading.
KPI?
Yeah, it's the quarterly reports.
KPI is quarterly report? What does KPI stand for?
I really don't know, but I know that's what it's called.
There'll be a test Friday.
And that's what it's called. But it's the iReady scores and all the district assessment scores. I'll try to pull it up on here for you so you can kind of see. And I'll send it to
Right.
John. I'll send the last one. I keep it with me because those scores are just disturbing. And then when you look at even how kids are performing on the MCAS, now the MCAS really doesn't matter, but we're still given the MCAS. So it's just confusing overall for everybody, but some kids aren't achieving. Most kids aren't achieving. Most are not meeting standards or even just partially meeting standards.
Okay. So way back in, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I was going to say it's interesting because I talked to my son a lot about their school system there because he's moved his son from a public school to a private Catholic school. But over there, when they start kindergarten, it's based on when your birthday is. So say your birthday, like my grandson, it's in July, right? And they'll move you into kindergarten when the next session starts because they do school year round there where they do like 10 weeks and they have 2 weeks off and then they have a longer break during the Christmas holidays. So they're year round with the way school is there. It's not like,
Interesting.
you take 2 months off like we do in the States usually, like July and August. So they start kindergarten based on your birthday. So if your birthday's the 18th of July and the next, say they're on break for 2 weeks, then he'll start school when the next break is over. And so they have kids coming in during the year at different times. So it's interesting how they do that. Instead of picking an arbitrary cutoff date, they just pick the birthday, and they figure once you're actually 5 or 6, whatever it is for kindergarten, that's when you start school. Like my son, his birthday's in November, and he could have waited an extra year because the cutoff in New York was December 1st. My youngest brother, they waited an extra year because his birthday was at the end of November, just about. So it's interesting. My son didn't have any problem with school, even though his birthday was in November, where some kids whose birthdays are in August, when they go to school, it's individual to each person. But it's just they do that education system a little differently in New Zealand. I thought was interesting.
I know when you say birthday, right? And so in Lowell, it's an October 1st cutoff. But if you're a special ed student in early intervention and you just turned 3, you can enter school like that very next day after your birthday. And that's another cause of what kind of sets off a lot of classrooms in preschool and in mainstream settings, because you have to now service this child who just turned 3 because they're a special needs student. Who said it's socially bad if a kid stays back? The Department of Education.
Sorry,
I'll try to look for that
I gotta
study.
fix them first. I'll get back to you. Sorry, I got 3.
All right.
Make them fit.
So back in 1897, we signed a treaty annexing the Republic of Hawaii to the United States, although the Hawaii Republic didn't dissolve until a year later. But it's nice to have Hawaii.
What year was this?
1897.
We haven't even hit the 1900s yet?
1903, Ford Motor Company was incorporated. 1904, Irish author James Joyce begins a relationship with Nora Barnacle and subsequently uses the date to set the actions for his novel Ulysses. This date is now traditionally called Bloomsday, so today is Bloomsday.
When you're done with history, we'll proceed.
in Ulysses was banned in Boston in the
John,
20s.
No, we have to wait till Cliff's done the history, then we'll move on, please.
So, in 1911, IBM was founded as the Computing, Tabulating, Recording Company in Endicott, New York. 2002, Padre Pio was canonized. Birthday, 1723, Adam Smith, Scottish philosopher and economist, died in 1790. 1977, Werner von Braun passed away. He'd been born in 1912. He put us in space. So, there you are.
We done with history?
What?
We done with history?
We're never done with history, but go ahead.
Well, are you done with your performance today on history?
Did
Yeah.
you go through the
Okay.
deaths yet? Are
The-
we done?
Yeah, I did do the deaths.
There you go, Eileen. Read all those puppies, then we can move on.
Who said it's socially bad if kids stay back? I'll try to find that study and I'll send it to John. Who said it? No, there was a study done. I'm not sure. If 50% are struggling, how can you move them to the next grade? Massachusetts is 90% Democrat. You can blame them for the circus act around here. It's too bad Carnivale and Tar are only out for themselves. They're just as terrible as the Democrats. Who is Carnivale and Tar?
Republicans.
John, I sent you the Lowell Public Schools, the KPI report on your Facebook Messenger, and I'll look up
I'll go look that up.
where the report is, because I remember reading that study.
Okay, Eileen,
What?
it's time to talk about where we are in the Karen Reed show.
Okay, thank you. We're in deliberations. The defense rested last week. Closing arguments were Friday. Oh, we lost Mike on, oh, I think he's coming back. All right.
Oh dear.
All right. So defense rested on Thursday.
Friday. Oh, rested, yeah.
Friday was closing arguments. Alan Jackson did an incredible job. Did I tell you Alan Jackson was in the Air Force? So when he's talking to all these military people, he knows exactly what he's talking about, or about honor and integrity. And did you have that? Because a lot of these people, people from the case were, and it was an incredible closing statement, because you could tell the defense attorney felt literally every syllable that he said, because that's how upset with the Commonwealth he is. And it's really the defense that is essentially prosecuting this case, not the prosecution. And I very much so agree with that. I think they did a much better job this time around for the trial with giving visuals and understanding what people may need to see, because it is. So the one thing I've even learned in the Karen Reed case is the prosecution just wanted to confuse people essentially and not know what they're talking about. And my question even, I can, why would you ever vote yes for something even in a school committee position if you don't understand it, right? Or why would you vote guilty or hung if you don't understand it? I just think there's so many areas that there is so much reasonable doubt of what's happened. And we'll see what happens with the deliberations. There's tons of people out there. I think there were 1,500 people, lots of fundraisers for Karen Reed. Yesterday was Father's Day, and a lot of people were raising money for Bill and Janet Reed and trying to help Karen. But it's so true. He says to people all the time, I hope no father ever has to experience this. They're almost 80-year-olds, and they're going to court every day.
So, you think...
Hold up 1 second there. Eileen, a question about your donut choice here.
Is this Martha? When will Eileen bring in a Bavarian cream donut? Show them, Cliff. Show them what I brought you. I say Bavarian cream donut every time I go through the top donut line. and this is what they give me, a Boston cream. So in my mind, Cliff will still like it, but the
Would you
real
explain-
one is at Market Basket.
Would you explain to the audience what you think a Bavarian cream donut is?
Something from Germany.
Okay. Cliff, what is a Bavarian cream donut? I'll find a picture of it.
Good. Bavaria is a special part of Germany,
It's like Belvedere.
except I went to a fighter wing change of command ceremony in Bavaria, which is part of Germany. They played the Bavarian national anthem, not the German national anthem.
Belvedere has its own national anthem.
And that would be what?
I don't know.
It's God's country.
You're
They
the
call
Belvedere-
it God's
It's a
country.
nice part of town. Okay, so here's Bavarian cream. Bavarian cream donuts typically require ingredients for both the donut dough and the Bavarian cream filling. The donut dough usually includes flour, sugar, la 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 la. The cream consists of milk, egg yolks, cornstarch. I'm a consumer, not a creator, but this is what, I guess these are the fancy Bavarian cream donuts, Cliff.
So they're
Yeah.
not even chocolate.
No.
Interesting.
And I didn't know they had some kind of peppering on the outside of sugar.
Is it like coconut?
Yeah.
Or
No.
is it powdered sugar?
Yeah.
And there's a lot more about Bavarian cream donuts, but we're going down a crush depth here on Bavarian cream donuts, but
So,
they don't have them over the top donut. But I'll bet you they have them at Donut Shack. Or maybe Donner's Donuts out in Tewksbury. Maybe we get Mark Crapman and bring it.
What
A
about
Bavarian cream
maybe
donut.
Top Donut?
Didn't you go to Top Donut today?
I say Bavarian cream.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So
You gotta go in
all
and
right,
talk to Robin or Wendy and say, hey, look, this is not Bavarian cream.
So all right. So I go to the one on Bridge Street, right?
Oh,
And-
no, you gotta, no.
Yes, so this could be part of it, but when I go to the one on Lakeview Ave, I see that they redid the whole thing, and maybe they would have a Bavarian cream. So when I say maybe Top Donut, I mean Top Donut on Lakeview Ave.
When will Belvedere have a Belvedere cream donut? It's not in any forecast up there. I'll talk to Corey Belanger. More donut talk, less Karen Reed Grand Slam. Back to you guys.
So I have a question for Eileen, is if, and probably if they don't have a hung jury, they find Karen Reed not guilty. Now, one is, will they reopen the case and try and find out who really did it if they find her not guilty? And two is, if she's found not guilty, how much money is she going to sue for against the police department and all the others?
So I honestly don't think they'll ever know what truly happened, unfortunately. As many of us can have theories or whatever, I don't think it'll be reopened because this Commonwealth is extremely corrupt. And yeah, it is extremely corrupt with very few people that have a lot of power and money. And they call the shots, and they've used that throughout their life. And, you know, I got into arguments seriously last week about, like, if Karen Reed was big, fat, and ugly, then there would be no attention brought to this case. I'm like, that has nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter what this lady looks like. It's the fact that she had the money and the resources to marshal a David Yannetti and Alan Jackson, Eliza Little. And Robert Alessi is just working for free. He's from New York. He's an incredible lawyer. And as is the juror from the last trial that joined who thought it was corrupt. And she joined David Yannetti's team. So I don't know what's going to happen. There's one charge, the charge number 2, that worries me. And from what I understand, the defense put it on because if people really want her to pay for something, they put an OUI charge, which there's no doubt that she was not drinking. Like, she definitely was drinking and driving. So they could definitely find her guilty of that charge number 2, and Judge Bev is just very corrupt, and she could give her the maximum sentence for that. So that's the one thing that does concern me a little bit, but I don't know.
Wait, but she still has a civil suit against her also, right?
From the O'Keefe family. Oh, but I also don't think that, I mean, people are pulling for her. There's already documentary series out there, and this case has drawn domestic and international attention. Like, people all over the country. It's a movement, the Free Karen Reed movement, and I think that no matter what, I pray and I hope to God that Karen Reed will be more than well off for the rest of her life for what her and her family have been through for the past few years. It's just not easy. And people criticize her. Like, my mom's like, she's guilty. And yesterday I took her up to the beach for Father's Day because everyone was up there. This is the weekday go. And I was like, Mom, you need to listen to this. And she's a nurse, so she was listening to the testimony that there was no impact site, that there was no bruising, there were no broken bones. Like, there would be an impact site if this man was truly hit by a car. And she's like, I agree. But she's like, I saw her hit the car. I'm like, you saw her hit the car? Yes, because she went out at 5 o'clock in the morning to look for him. But that's not where the body was found. So I think I've turned my mom. And that's a huge thing for me.
Unless you've served on a jury before, it's hard to understand what you have to go through and what you have to pay attention to. And I found that on at least the 2 times I've been on jury duty, people take it very seriously. And they look at the law. The first case I was on, we had to have the judge reread the law to us and what the charges were because it wasn't clear right away what we were really debating on. So I found people are very serious, and they take it, they want to do the right thing.
And and I feel like the jury slips that they give, especially in Norfolk County, are extremely confusing with a lot of wording.
Well, Eileen, can you speak to this? Are you alone? I've been on juries twice. Now I'm too old, they won't let me on anymore. First time you could take no notes. Second time I could take notes. Karen Reed's jury, were they allowed to make notes?
Yes, one juror apparently took up to 5 notebooks full of notes, but Judge Bev said during deliberations they cannot reference the notes, only the exhibits in the case, which I've heard some controversy about.
Well, now, I'm going to zero in on deliberations. They just had the weekend.
That makes no sense. You're allowed to take notes, and then you take all these notes, and then when you go to do deliberation, you can't reference your notes. You're supposed to have a photographic memory to remember everything that you've been in a trial for, a month or whatever?
Mike, the way I want to look at this is when I go home for the day, I've been deliberating all day. The Commonwealth's too cheap to put me in up a hotel. They send me home. Go eat your own food. We're not going to feed you. We just
and you can't go out and you can't have a life and you can't look at social media.
My question, Eileen, since you're the expert in the room, can I look at my notes when I go home?
I believe the notebooks are confiscated by the court officer every day, so it's only when they're there, is from what I understand.
I go back to Mike. Mike, you got any comments on that one? Well, I mean, I never took any notes on anything, and we didn't. And when we voted, we didn't have any special ballot slips. We just had you filled out a sheet, yes or no, or guilty or not guilty, and you passed it up to the foreman, and that's how we did it. We didn't have any special slips we had to fill out on how we voted.
Well, I remember the second trial, they had 2 kids. The kids from New Jersey. They were trying to put the kids in jail because they found 2 guns in their car. They were driving a car that was not theirs. And they were stopped on a certain place on 93. And they had all these different things that came out in court, and I'm there like, my memory, and I didn't have my notes in the room with me. They didn't let me take my notes in the room with me. I said, here's the deal. When I borrow your car, I'm not checking under the seat for anything. So if they had checked under the seat, they would have saw the guns. And I asked everybody, when you borrow anybody's car, do you check under the seat for guns? No, of course not. And second, the part of 93 where they pulled the car over was a dark road. They said there were street lights on 93. It was up by Tewksbury where they pulled them over. There are no lights in the road. And thirdly, they had the make of the vehicle they pulled over and the color wrong. And that was all in my head. And nobody on the jury remembered any of this stuff. They had to go to the exhibits to say that it was a Nissan, not a Toyota, and the car was blue, because you're looking at the registration of the car, not white. So the kids, these two kids, they got off, but it was just terrible what the state police were trying to do to these two little kiddos. They weren't little, they were probably like 20.
Well, that's what they say. Like, the police are corrupt, and it's unfortunate to boot. Like, look at the Mass State Police in this case. I sent you on Messenger also the research on the staying back and the Karen Reed charging documents.
Well, I was going to do this
KPI report.
Liam Skinner letter, but you didn't.
Did it come up, the KPI
I showed
report?
it to you on the screen, and then you
Oh, yes,
you
but
saw it.
then people were texting in. Go ahead, go back to it.
All right. So what do you want us to know about this?
Okay, scroll down. Okay, if you look at academics and student achievement and you click on that. Oh,
Sorry,
can you
that
not? All right,
wonderful
go
guy-
ahead down. I-ready assessment in math. Does that come up?
Which one?
If you scroll down a little further,
This guy?
yeah, does that come up?
No.
All right, then it must be part of the whole report. So scroll down to page 19.
Page 19. Okay, close your eyes, kids. Hope the pages are numbered. Oh, it's mad at me. Oh, I went by it a little bit. We'll just scroll back a little bit. Sorry. If you're trying to sip your coffee and you're spilling it while you're watching me scroll.
They measure attendance, out of school suspensions.
What is
There's
it? Okay, this is page 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Here's 19.
Okay, so the red is at risk, the yellow is tier 2, struggling, and tier 1 is you're good to go. So overall placement. So 34% are in Lowell are good to go. And then if you take those two numbers, 37 and 29, and add them,
65% are not ready to go promoted.
essentially, so go
What's
down.
your take on this, Cliff?
First of all, the expression "good to go," I always assume that that's a lie.
Ready, set, go. That's what I see. Yellow is slow down, you're having a little difficulty. Red is like, stop, we need to do some type of intervention. So scroll down, so this was 23, 24. Go ahead to 24.
This says,
25.
whatever we're doing, we need to try something different.
Right, exactly. So they did adopt a new reading
Round of
curriculum.
applause, raise for everybody. That'll fix you. That'll fix it. Round of
All right,
applause and
so-
raise for everybody.
33% and then 29% in 24, 25. So what, 9, 10, 11, 12,
1% difference.
60, yeah. 62, 63%, right?
Well, if
So-
any luck getting a hold of Liam Skinner, I'm sorry, he's gone up 4%. 34% of the kids from last year.
No, that's 23, 24. Now 24, 25 is this past school year. So scroll down. All right, and keep going down because then it will break down reading and math.
Well, I just wanted to say this. Well, I know you want to move on. This is horrible.
Well, it's an indicator of,
$17,000 per student.
and we're saying Like, we're doing a great job in Lowell Public Schools.
And let's go
Wait,
over.
let's, 17,000?
Per pupil.
Okay, 20,000, whatever you want to say. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, twice as much as they're spending in Utah, and they're doing better.
Well, I think it comes down to teacher to student ratio.
Yeah, Utah has a higher student to teacher ratio.
I'll
than
leave
we
this
do.
up. People can study it while you're looking some up there, Eileen.
Phonological awareness, we're actually doing good, so that's a good thing, right? But then when you get into phonics,
What
high
awareness are
frequency
you talking
words.
about?
What?
What awareness are you talking about?
So phonological awareness is the ability to look at print, right? And to be able to say, okay, this is the letter sound, letter name, right? Phonics,
Never heard that word before today.
it's the science of reading. So phonics is your ability to like put,
So, are they say what percentage of the kids from fourth grade can read? Is that indicated here someplace?
yeah, I asked for that, so go ahead down. Go further down. Grade 4. So in 23, 24, 27, and 39.
29% got a green.
Yep. And go down to this past year for grade 4.
52%.
And who, yeah.
So we're going in a good direction, but I'm still not too happy with 52%. I'm sorry, no, that was wrong. That was grade 3. Grade 4 is 33%. So the difference between is he's gone up 4%. So he's going in a good direction, but that's horrible.
Or were they still a lucky clicker? Right? And like
Well-
you don't know about that.
True, false, you get 50% of the time if you're guessing, you're going to be wrong. But you shouldn't be guessing.
Right.
Anything you want to comment before I change to the page here, Cliff?
Go. Can you go a little further down? And so that's reading. That's the science of reading right there. And this is math. 29 and 41.
29% are ready to go to the next grade. Is that my takeaway from this triangle?
And then for this past school year, go ahead down. 36%. So they jumped, right? And then
Yeah. Made a big improvement this year. Still nowhere near 50%.
and then it breaks it down to number and operations, algebra, measurement. And what's the grade 4 for math? 34%?
34% compared to 40% this year. So going in a good direction, but still horrible.
I don't know why it's called KPI, but it's done quarterly.
Key performance indicators.
Thank you.
We'll
And these
public-
are maintenance tickets and what has been addressed and what hasn't been addressed and what's been submitted and so forth.
We got to go off to break land. We will be back. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the City Life Show. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. I'm joined by Eileen Delrossi, my co-host. And Eileen, have you pulled papers to run for school committee?
Oh, I have, and Mike, let's not forget Mike.
We won't forget Mike as soon as you answer the question.
No, I have not pulled papers yet.
How can I sign if you haven't pulled the papers?
That's a great question.
All right.
I
And
haven't-
we're joined by Mike Smith down in Florida where it's, what'd you say, it was 84 degrees, Mike?
It feels like, I think when I got up this morning, it feels like 87.
Oh, wow.
We might get a little bit of rain this morning. This time of year, you get short rain showers most days. Doesn't last a long time, but you get them. We're going golfing this morning at 9 o'clock, but I may have to leave like 5 minutes early from the podcast. So.
Okay.
Next 2 weeks, we're off. Remember that?
Oh, we are. Even, when does it start? After this week?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, we're off for 2 weeks. Okay. Okay.
At the end of the day, who's responsible for those numbers? Parents, kids, schools? And what's the remedy to the problem? And that's the problem, Jay. Hooked on phonics, ebonics, and electronics, the United States of Entertainment was a great ride. Now, all cops are terrible, just like, not all cops are terrible, just like not all teachers are terrible. DW, I 100% agree, but like in this Karen Reed case, you can't really deny it, that it was not a good investigation. I mean,
Yeah, but I tend to agree with DW. They just, the Vatican just canonized a person from some nation in Africa who died because he was an honest government employee and wasn't corrupt, and so he was taken care of. But he's an example that you can be good.
no,
So-
listen, I get it. There are I've met some really amazing cops in this city, like very, very efficient, very effective, very true. I 100% agree. But I can't lie that anytime I see a Mass State Police cruiser, I'm like making sure I'm on my best behavior driving because I don't want them to pull me over, right? Like it definitely gives. I don't have a problem with any Lowell police officer. Like I think in this city we do a great job at that. We have a great understanding. We have people who understand the population and people who truly care. But then you go to a bigger organization like the Massachusetts State Police and you see what's happened to a Sandra Birchmore or a Karen Reed, and it's just a little disturbing. And it's not from any firsthand experience that I've had, it's just from what I've listened to and outside media.
So,
Oh, independent media, I should say.
my second item from the first hour is there's a war going on between Israel and Iran. Have you noticed?
I've seen pictures. Why are they fighting?
Well, because Israel is hammering the Iranian nuclear development program, destroying it because the Israelis judged that Iran was only days away from being able to create a nuclear weapon. And that would not be good, especially if Iran gave the nuclear weapon to terrorists and then was able to say, oh, I didn't do anything. That would have been terrible and would have killed tens of thousands of Israeli citizens.
Israel's been through it between Palestine and now Iran. They're trying to protect the Holy Land.
What do you think, Mike?
Well, it's interesting. The United States and the Western Allies are guilty of letting this go on for the amount of time they've let it go on. We kind of financed them too. by taking away the sanctions and giving them billions of dollars of money. They've never been trustworthy, the Iranians, the people in charge. They made it very clear they want to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. And if anybody thinks they didn't mean it, I don't know where. I want to sell them a bridge too. So they've never kept the agreement with the International Atomic Energy Commission. They've financed all these other groups like the Houthis, Hamas, all that, to go after Israel and places in the Middle East. I was a little bit surprised because I wasn't paying enough attention with the 60-day thing that Trump had talked about. But now that I, been paying more attention, this is not something that was just planned in the last 2 months. This has been planned for years, and they were ready to do it when they had to. And just by the way they did things, they took out the heads of the different areas in the military. They took out the nuclear scientists. They went after military targets. On the other hand, Iran is just sending everything over and hoping to blow anything up they can. Well, they're going to run out of weapons pretty soon. They have no air defense at all now. So the Israelis, they're not going to stop. They mean business. And anybody who has not listened to the Israelis in the past, they should not be surprised that Israel's doing what they're doing. They're not going to get, as Netanyahu said, we're not going to have a second Holocaust. And Israel was first on the list, but the United States was right after that. If they could have gotten nuclear weapons, I would have no doubt if they could get them in the United States, they would have used them. They are on a jihad. They are on. Their way is the only way, and anybody who is not their way is they're going to take them out. That's how they think. It's just it's hard for us in the West to understand that thinking, but that's how they think, and it's not good. And I'm not shocked Israel's doing what they're doing.
So somebody by the name of Katie Karp tweeted out, the people taking offense to the phrase death to America are either being intentionally obtuse or they don't understand what it means. And she goes on to say, it doesn't mean literal death to people here. It's not inciting violence. It means people want to destroy the oppressive system we live under. Actually, I don't feel like I live under an oppressive system. But then on the other hand, the Citizen Free Press writes, the leader of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, AQAP, calls on American Muslims to assassinate Trump, Vance, Hegseth, Rubio, and Elon Musk. So I'm not sure where these guys are.
Listen, I haven't even caught up to the Elon Musk, Donald Trump drama. I don't know what's going on there. So that's how far behind in national news I am. So I'm just going to sit back. You can't make money from nuclear war. All it does is make more money for the military-industrial complex.
Well, let me just. I was reading a recent post of somebody I know, and it's interesting because this lady that you just mentioned, she's talking about our oppressive system. Then why is she still living in the United States if that's where she lives? And again, when people come to me about how bad it is here all the time, I say, then why do millions of people want to come to the United States? They want to come here and from their countries. If things are so bad in the United States, why do millions, not a few people, millions of people want to come here? So I get no answer from other people. And they're like, they don't know what to say. I said, people come here because they want a better life. And it's unfortunate in Iran that the people are under such a repressive regime that they have no rights, they have no say on anything. And the people in charge there want to keep it that way. They want to keep it that way. They brainwash the kids. They're teaching them from the first day of school that you will hate Israel, you will hate the West, you will hate the United States. And it's very unfortunate that they don't have any other options. And, Israel has made up their mind finally, and the United States is helping them with intelligence. They may not have other things, but they're helping. They've made up their mind finally, we need to destroy this so they can't ever do this to us or anyone else. And, they're not going after civilian targets. They're going after military targets.
Well, the ICBMs that they're creating, when they come down on your city, they take out everything. And that's what's being created, rumored to be created, in Iran. ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads, will rain down on the United States of America. Then what are we going to do?
Yeah, there's it's unfortunate. War is, as I've always said in other podcasts, weeks that we've had them. It's an unfortunate thing, but the sooner you take out the enemy, the less damage overall there is. The sooner you stop the war, and the only way to do that is crush the enemy so that they will no longer try to fight. And unfortunately, there's people that are going to suffer because of that.
Well, after doing this show for 1,000 years, I've come to understand it's the government that's bad. The United States government, from different angles, is terrible. The Iranian government, from different angles, is terrible. The Israeli government, but having had the luxury of visiting Israel, the people are just as nice as the people on Back Central Street. They're wicked nice people. They have a government that doesn't listen to them. And look at the Israelis, they're born to hate the other side. It's terrible. Back over to Cliff.
Any last thoughts, Eileen?
No,
There'll be a test Friday.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I need to do a lot of catch up.
So Saturday we had the No Kings protests. I find this another failure of the public school system.
Can you explain what this was? I saw it all over the place.
Read this last text and then
Don't forget about the plane full of money President Obama sent to Iran. Really? I wish somebody sent me a plane full of money.
Pallets of dollar bills, billions.
Why?
Because we're trying to coerce Iran into playing nice.
How does it?
The same thing that happened in World War II beforehand when they were trying to, play nice with Hitler. And how did that work out? So they figured if we could just talk with him, he'd be willing to listen. They figured if they gave them money, they would go away. They'd be happier. But they don't think the same way we do.
you can't negotiate with a skunk.
You negotiate with people who don't care if they die. So they out their minions to be, quote, martyrs. They don't care if they die because they're going to go, to seven virgins and all the other stuff that they tell them they're going to get if they die for the cause.
Cheapskate, 70.
Can we just talk about the happy skunks that live around your house?
The happy skunks? We have our fair share, that's for sure.
Yes, I saw them once, and I was like, "Did you see that, John? There's a skunk around." He's like, "They're happy here."
So, Eileen, this
What?
educational failure.
Yes.
Saturday was the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army,
Okay.
which President Trump thought was worth celebrating. It's also his birthday.
Saturday was?
Yes.
Oh, he's a Gemini.
And also Flag Day.
Trump's a Gemini? That's Flag Day, too.
And it's Flag Day.
Oh, wow.
So the Democrats took umbrage at the fact that there was going to be this big parade for the Army birthday, which the Democrats thought, in President Trump's mind, was actually being conducted for his birthday. Although when you looked at the parade, it sure seemed like an Army celebration.
If you heard him speak, which I watched it, he was not talking about his birthday at all. He did not bring any of that stuff up. He was talking about the men and women who've served in the country and done all the other things that they've done to help protect us. So it's just this no kings thing is another thing of the media to try to rile people up, and they're not informed. And they're calling Trump a dictator. And I have in front of me the definition of a dictator: a ruler with total power over a country, typically one who has obtained control by force. In government, a dictator is a ruler who has total control over a country with no checks or balances to prevent abuse of power. They actually asked Trump in an interview about the king thing. He says, I'm not a king. I got to fight for everything. I got to go to Congress. I got to go to this judge. I got to go do all this other stuff. I can't just do whatever I want. So this is just a false narrative by the media to try to rile people up and make Trump look bad.
It was quite the heyday for the Democrats. A lot of my Democratic friends were out there holding their signs, and they didn't know which to go to, whether to go to the King's Parade or the Pride Parade.
Until the kings in these regions are taught, I'm sorry, I said kings, until the kids in these regions are taught not to hate them, the carnage will continue. Not to hate who? Like, I don't see that kids are hateful. I think today kids are more accepting than anything to anybody who's good to them. I don't know, like, who would they hate, I guess.
In the Middle East?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So the Lowell Sun, describing the Army birthday parade, stated that they were goose-stepping, which is a reflection back to the German Army of the 1930s.
Did Melanie write that?
What?
Did Melanie write that?
No, Peter wrote that. But there was no goose-stepping. In fact...
You ought to tell Melanie to bring Peter something Friday.
All right. In fact, I thought, looking at it, I thought a couple of the units, they had people out of step. So we have a section of the country that has just gotten itself all twisted up about this. But no King's Day, I thought, was the 4th of July. Don't we teach kids that?
The 4th of July is the birthday of the United States of America, right?
Yeah.
So Eileen, you got this one to read.
The horrible media used that phrase, the same media who told us Joe was okay. Jay. Yeah, from what it's sounding like was a big cover-up by a lot of people. And you know what? I don't know. I mean, that whole situation was intense. I mean, but people who covered for him and got away with a lot of craziness should pay a price because they were taking advantage of an elder person, essentially. But at the same time, he wanted that position. So, like, who do you blame?
Dr. Jill.
Oh, you think it was Jill?
The thing is with this No King's Day, and we've seen social media posts of people we know down here who are nice, seem to be nice people. But I see this, and these are people that are intelligent people. Like this one person, they're from Wisconsin. They're out there protesting, and the guy I know is retired from the military. He was in the military for years. And I'm like, what are they thinking? How are they, of course, they're from Wisconsin, so, and they're pretty liberal. But, it's just, I see this and I'm like, what information have they gathered in to think like this? That's the scary part.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
I'm still like wrapping my head around Juneteenth. Now we have No King's Day. So we have Juneteenth that's coming up
Thursday.
16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. And that's, everyone has that day off now, right?
No.
no, they
The
don't.
bank and the government are closed. Frank and Ernie's will
It's
be
a
open.
federal holiday.
All right,
Dunkin' Donuts will be open.
all right.
The common man will work that day.
Yeah, if
Government
I was
officials-
still working, if I wasn't retired, I'd be going into work. I wouldn't get that day off.
But schools do, because I remember one year we were in school.
They give you a day off for snow.
Yeah, it's a good gig. Well, kind of. It's a little draining, but
So look, I gotta do my announcements. I'm gonna shut your mics off. Just this one's working now. I'm gonna go over to here. And, come on, baby, there we go. Okay, so. Gotta go back to this guy first. Okay, farmer's market every Friday. They're gonna have a farmer's market in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts. All Friday afternoon, 2 to 6 p.m. every Friday until October. Fresh vegetables, games for the kids. Check it out. Every Friday. It's over at 350A Dutton Street. Today, the Lowell Senior Center is proud to have lunch 7 days a week, except a holiday. Juneteenth, they won't be there. So today, it being Monday, 16th, if you're watching, if you could be watching this for a repeat. We're not on Lowell today. Lowell's having some problems for the last couple of weeks. They can't really explain to me what the problem is, but eventually they'll figure it out. So at any rate, today, beef chili with rice. That's today at the Lowell Senior Center. If you want to go out to charming Chelmsford, today they have baked fish, mashed potatoes, peas, and applesauce. I gotta say, that sounds much more appealing, but I'm not going. Okay, school's almost done. So Eileen, school done today for you?
Is that for Lowell?
That's Tewksbury.
All right, so Lowell.
I am not hearing you.
Today's the last day for Lowell.
Oh, I know. I turned your mic down.
Today's the last day for Lowell, and it's the last day I know for Methuen.
So
this
traffic's
is
going to calm down.
Tewksbury.
Traffic's going to calm down, but bicycles are going to be pumping back up again. We'll see a lot of bicycles. A lot of kids enjoying the
Oh,
summer.
I was talking to somebody about that and the crazy bicyclist.
Yeah.
Like, we need to hold those parents accountable, never mind the kids.
Well, they had a video, I did not see it, where the cops are collecting bikes, and they're having a bulldozer drive over the bikes. The electric bikes and the motorbikes. Pretty cool.
Francisco
Okay,
Mahoney.
so Francisco Mahoney, he's having a signing party. Wednesday, that's this week, June 18th, from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. at Mount Pleasant. Cool thing. So if you want to get your papers signed, head up to Mount Pleasant. You're running for office, Eileen, and you want to get your papers signed. Go up and see Cisco Maldonado, the signature party up at Mount Pleasant, Wednesday, June 18th. That's this week, 5:30 to 9:30
So
p.m.
he's running against John Dakota?
John Dakota, yeah.
Okay.
And move right. Sidney Lang, he's having a party. District 7. Campaign kickoff Friday, June 20th. And put that down again, June 20th. 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Club Pass Temps. That's at 317 Moody Street. Hope to see you over there. The neighborhood groups, all the neighborhood groups have a meeting. Now and then, the Lowell Police collects the dates and tries to put the information out there. If you don't see your information up here, be in touch with the Lowell Police Department and they'll be sure to put your neighborhood meeting up. So today's the 16th. The next one coming up is the Belvedere Neighborhood Association. Clifford being the Belvederian in the room. Do you have any idea where this meeting might be, Cliff? On Zoom or Riley School?
Yeah.
Understood. Thank you. St. Ferdinand's Picnic is coming up in August. That'll be a tasty time. Admission's $1. So start saving up. You'll be able to get in there for $1. That's pretty cool. But it's coming up in August, so it's a little wild to go on that one there. And that's my last. Oh, wait, I got a couple of little side notes here.
Yeah.
Paul Rathayem, Cadillac of a guy. He's having his campaign kickoff party for Lowell City Council, District 7,
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth. 5:30 to 8 p.m. at the Lowell Firefighters Club, 362 Fletcher Street. Donations start at $20 and go up. Make the checkout, if you're going to make a checkout, the committee to elect Paul Rathiem. You can even donate online. He's got a QR code. Take your fancy phone and zero it on this guy. It'll bring you to a website. You can donate online. Pretty cool stuff. But good guy. Hope to see you over there, Paul Rathiem's party. And moving right along here, we got to get rid of this guy. This is happening tonight. Today's the last day to comment. So first of all, I'm going to read this one here. Markley, the Cloud, the old Prince Spaghetti Factory. Markley is having a walkthrough for neighbors today, June 16th at 6 p.m. on their site. So if you're a neighbor, you got to be able to produce ID that you really are a neighbor. I sent an email to Bill Martin, he's their lawyer, asking to go. I haven't heard back yet, so
It's too hot.
I plan on being there.
Announce it.
I plan on being there. So
What is a Markley walkthrough?
they're going to walk around outside the Markley thing, show you the new generators they're putting in. And I'm going to guess that's what they're going to show. I don't know what they're going to show, but it's the Cloud up. There used to be Prince Macaroni off Moore Street.
Okay.
Yeah, but they need electricity, and so they're putting in diesel generators.
As a backup, yeah. If they lose power.
The
Okay.
problem with AI is it uses a lot of electrical power.
Well, I want to. If they take questions, I don't know if they will. Why did they paint the building black?
I wanted to get you the information to get it out there that the public on how to register for comments to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. There is a portal for the public that they can submit the comments to, which is that
Real long thing. That's the point.
from the
Take a picture with your phone.
From the website homepage, a person wishing to register a comment will need to click the second orange button in the middle of the page titled Search and / or Comment. When the next page loads, it will have Markley Lowell, the Prince Spaghettiville, as the number 1. The user clicks on that and can review the documents submitted and scroll to the bottom to submit comments. They don't make it easy to find or do. Alternatively, they can email public comments to Northeast Bureau Chief at edward.bracic
Yeah, well, people can see what it says. Yeah.
You should put it on your Facebook, City Life Facebook page. The deadline for comments is today, the end of business day today at 5 p.m. Yes, the walkthrough at Markley is at 6 p.m., the same date, so comments have to be submitted beforehand. Jacob Fortes.
So today is the day to do it. No sense. If you're looking at this next week, don't bother. It's already gone by. So today is the last day you can comment, June 16th, 2025. So I got a couple of comments here from the audience. I'll go back to Cliff. I'll get them up and I'll get back over to here. Thanks.
So before we had the No King's Day activities like over in Chelmsford, we had a demonstration here in Lowell on Friday about ICE and going after the scofflaws, the illegal immigrants.
People are scared.
What are they scared of?
I mean, listen, like my sister's friend who works as a speech pathologist, right? And I made a joke and she was like, no, I got my red card, which is really a green card, but it's my EAC card. And she's from Canada and she was born and raised in Canada and she's afraid that somebody is going to come for her. And I didn't realize, like, I mean, the process is very different now than, I mean, I don't know if the process is different. I've never been an immigrant. I've never had to register in the United States or a different country. But I don't know what the process is, and it seems like it's stressing other people out because it's a slower process. Maybe because there's so many people.
I can speak to that.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so my partner, Kathy, is Canadian, and she originally was married to an American, and she had a green card back then. She lived in the U.S. for 25 years, and she went back to Canada to work in the family business, so she had to give up her green card so she could get Canadian health insurance. Actually, she went to school for her junior and senior year of high school in Fort Myers and graduated from high school in the United States. So that's a second green card. When she decided that she wanted to live in the U.S. permanently again, we had to go through the process. It took 2.5 years. It is a slow process. It's lengthy. There's a lot of forms you have to fill out with a sponsor, all the other things, and and the money involved. And but she got her green card back. She's not a citizen. She's a permanent resident, what they call a permanent resident to the United States now.
How long
But
did that
she's
take to
legally-
get that
She's gone
status?
back to Canada since Trump's been in, back and forth, across the border. Never had any issues. I just think a lot of this is the press is drumming this up for going back across the border. And then with the new 60-day thing, or 30-day, they have to register online, the Canadians. I talked to somebody who did that, says it was easy to do. He just renews it every 30 days if he's going to be in the U.S. more than 30 days. The Canadians are upset because for years, the U.S. never enforced all the laws they enforce for other people coming from other countries.
Right, it was more
So now
lackadaisical.
They're doing it for everybody. So it's, I think it's the media's drumming this up, to be quite honest.
Trump blamed Biden when Russia attacked Ukraine. All right. And when Hamas attacked Israel, saying neither would have happened if he were president. Who is he going to blame for Israel attacking Iran? JC, is that John Curtis?
Yes.
A question for Mike. How's the bocce game going?
Well, the bocce league starts in November. Goes November to March. I did teach my son and his daughter, and my daughter-in-law and my grandson how to play shuffleboard. And they learned how to play shuffleboard. We didn't have time to play bocce. But Kathy and I were on the winning team on the cruise ship when they had a bocce tournament. So we did, the team we were on, we did win the bocce tournament.
What type of cruise did you go on? Was it a Norwegian or
What boat? What boat was it?
We're on the cruise ship. They had the bocce on the cruise. That was one of the activities they had on the cruise ship.
No, but you know how the cruise ship has different lines, like Norwegian or the...
Celebrity.
Oh, I was on Celebrity cruise ship.
Oh,
We were down in the Caribbean. Yes,
Which boat?
We went. So.
What boat?
What, John asked what boat on Celebrity?
Oh, we're on the Beyond. It's a newer ship. It's not a boat. It's a ship. And they don't drive the ship, as the captain said. I will add a little side note on the captain of this ship. His first name is Kirk, so they call him Captain Kirk. And he's quite funny, because usually one of the nights they introduce all their staff and it's real dry. He was cracking jokes. And then later in the week, he plays guitar and drums. They had a band. He put on a concert, the captain of the ship. But it was packed. He was playing all kinds of different rock songs, and he's got a good voice. And it was quite entertaining. But I've never seen that before, that the captain of a cruise ship can also be a singer and a guitar player. So it was quite entertaining.
So, going back to these protests about immigrants,
Thanks, Eileen.
I
See
can
you, buddy.
understand that, go ahead, John.
Blow this up. It shouldn't be easy to become a U.S. citizen. Anything worth having is worth working and waiting for. Well, let me just put this out here, okay? This guy, DW, probably born in the United States, never been to a bad country. If you have Netflix, watch a movie called Plane, Plane. And you're going to see a government there that some people are born into. You were lucky. I was lucky. I was born in the United States of America. I wasn't born in a country with a terrible government. And I have a friend of mine that lives in this region right now. And the story he told me that made him leave Brazil 50 years ago was the police came to his house. The local police department, in a police car, beat up his father, raped his mother, raped his sister, and they took their TV and left. Who do you call when that happens? The police did it. His father made the decision that day, we're leaving this country. We can't stay here anymore. And so you say, it's anything worth, look it's got to be easier to come here. Right now, it's the episode that you have to go through to become a citizen of this country is from the 1800s. Oh, I know you've quickly, oh no, it was fixed in 1956. I don't care. Everything's computers now. Let's get this into let's get this into 2025. Lori Trahan. Let's get this in 2025. Ed Markey. Elizabeth Warren. Instead of saying, okay, I hate the president, cool. Fix immigration. Thank you.
I don't think they're going to respond. Last Sunday, not yesterday, but the week before, I sent an email to Lori Trahan, Elizabeth Warren, and Ed Markey individually saying, why don't we cut a deal? We give amnesty to all the scofflaws that are here right now, the illegal immigrants, and in exchange, you robustly fund the border security, and you pass a law saying you have to be a U.S. citizen to vote in a federal election, and you have to show ID to vote. I thought that would be a good deal, compromise between Democrats and Republicans. Didn't hear anything. Thursday afternoon, I called all three offices. Still haven't heard anything. I doubt that I'll hear anything this week because either A, they've tagged me as Republican in the computer from days gone by, or they read that and tagged me as Republican for the suggestion, or they just don't care.
No, Cliff, they go in their wallet master and say, did Cliff ever give us any money? If he didn't give us any money, the heck with him.
That could be it too.
That's what's going on. I got 3 comments here I'm going to read to you guys.
Good, then we'll go to LA.
Since Eileen's gone home, or she's gone off to work. Okay, so move over to here. And it says, yes, Mike, you can put a boat on a ship, but you can't put a ship on a boat. My dad was in the Navy, always reminded me of this. Thank
I
you.
agree.
Okay.
My dad was in the Navy, so I know better between a boat and a ship. So
It shouldn't be easy to become a U.S. citizen. Anything worth having is worth working and waiting for.
Okay.
Interesting comment. I already commented what he had said about that. Cruising out of Boston is a great take. It certainly is. It's great to just be able to walk, get dropped off, and you're home. It's nice stuff.
Okay.
Back to you, Cliff.
Before we go to LA, for John Curtis, I don't think that President Trump can blame anyone except himself and Bibi Netanyahu. Although I think President Trump, for the previous 60 days, was trying to get Iran on board, he failed. So Israel had to take care of the problem.
Well, Netanyahu...
If John Curtis has a different opinion, I invite him to text in.
Netanyahu was on the microphone this morning on Sky News, or it might have been BBC, didn't hear it in the American news, saying that They were developing intercontinental ballistic missiles, so he saved America from being nuked. That was my takeaway from his statement this morning, Benny. Netanyahu, the guy over to Israel, in charge of Israel. Well,
Okay,
let me-
what was that last comment?
They don't
don't-
care, but I'll bet you're going to make a donation. They'll call you back, Flowers. You got to make a donation.
Yeah, I can see that.
Ain't going to be happening.
No.
What never ceases to amaze me is people think they can negotiate with the people running Iran. They don't understand how these people think. They really don't understand it. And, they look at things, this is the way things should be, and we'll do whatever we think to have it that way. I had no doubt that if they got a nuclear weapon, that they wouldn't hesitate to use it. I mean, the guy running North Korea, he's a lot of bluster in that, but I doubt he's ever going to use the nuclear weapon he's got, because he knows what will happen. These people, they don't care. And that's the hardest thing for us in the West to understand, because we care about human life. A lot of people care about it, and and people suffering. They don't.
Yep. Good summary of the situation. So there's been a lot of protests about immigration. Apparently up in Seattle, the Antifa people have surrounded the ICE facility because there are some illegal immigrants that have been detained. I don't know how that's finally going to work out. If maybe the Seattle police will just allow it to go on, sort of like a new Chaz, which was Seattle's Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. Maybe the Antifa people are creating another autonomous zone. But down in LA, one of the things obvious to me was all the Mexican flags being displayed. There's a group of people who think, they call themselves La Raza, that think that the whole southwest U.S. really belongs to Mexico.
This is an email from LTC, Adam McCone. He's the boss down there. And good morning. Just want to pass along. I'm working on the issue. 100% change in YouTube terms of service. Because of that, we have no workaround. It requires a sign-in at a human level, not allowed on our broadcast service to sign in. So he's working with Brian Dorrington out in Tewksbury to be able to get City Life back up on local access here in Lowell. It's right, but right now we're live in Tewksbury, Kingsborough, Dracut, and Chelmsford. And they all get their feed off of Tewksbury. Back over to you.
Thanks, Adam. So, in fact, the president of the Mexican Senate unrolled a map late last week that showed California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas as all being part of Mexico. Sort of a reverse of Trump saying we'd like to have Greenland and Canada as the 51st state. So the protests about illegal immigrants is partly about who are citizens of what nation. I think that that's a problem for the United States. And I don't think that the mayor, Karen Bass, the U.S. Rep. Maxine Waters, or the governor, Gavin Newsom, understand that they have a problem here. And there are some people who have suggested that Gavin Newsom wants to be the new Jefferson Davis, that that's the approach he's taking, the same one that Jefferson Davis took. We remember Jefferson Davis from the Civil War, right? He was the president of the Confederacy. And the Confederacy thought it shouldn't have to follow the laws of the federal government. And to enforce that, they seceded from the Union. Not good. You got any thoughts on that, Mike?
Yeah, that didn't turn out too well. But the problem is,
Cliff, is that on your phone?
Yes.
Where's your phone?
Is they've been
hearing
allowed
him.
to just do basically whatever they wanted for decades now.
Hey,
And
Mike,
so,
you need to speak up a little bit. For some reason, you're muffled.
On
it
your
seems
phone.
like my volume is really low.
Yeah.
And I turned up my volume on my phone.
Oh, good.
And your volume's been very low. I don't know what happened. Why
Yeah.
it's low, but I'm going to speak up a little bit higher. I'll get closer to it. You know, it's been going on for decades here in California, and they've been allowed to do it because they do it because they've got a large voting bloc, and they get a lot of seats in Congress. Thank God that we have a Senate; they only get 2, but they've just been doing whatever they wanted, so they still think they can do it, and people are starting to get fed up with it. I mean, that's why a lot of people are moving out of California, but until the Republican Party can get some kind of traction in the state, I don't see anything changing there. Not at all.
So there's a reporter, Carol Markowitz. For some reason, I think she's from Canada. But anyway, wrote, "I'm a legal immigrant. Don't you dare lump me with border jumpers. This should be no surprise. Legal immigrants who waited their turn and struggled to become Americans have little in common with those who broke the law to arrive in our country ready for someone to take care of them, and are increasingly angered by politicians who coddle the criminals." And so there's the view. I think that the Democrats don't understand that the legal immigrants are not happy with the illegal immigrants. There's a reporter for the Free Press, Batya Ungar Sargon. Newsom's line of argument advanced often by rich progressives that we need a caste of illegal labor to do jobs that are too crappy for Americans is ground zero for how the Democrats lost the working class. And the quote is, "Newsom is using this moment to cast himself as a Democrat solution, but he is only throwing their problem, appealing to the American electorate, into sharper relief." I think, I'm not sure that the Democrats have the right end of this stick. I don't know. You got any thought about that?
I don't think they care because they take, and they're finding out that they can't take these, the Hispanic groups and all the other minorities for granted anymore. They always had them in the bag, so to speak. They would vote for them no matter what they did, but people are finally getting fed up with that, and they're saying there's got to be a better way because we're not getting better and things aren't good for us, especially along the border states. It's been, people, the human trafficking, the drugs, the abuse of women. They're like, we don't want this anymore. So if that changes enough, they'll have to change with it, or else the party is going to just splinter or go away. I just think it's not what people used to think of as the Democratic Party. It's now become the Republicans are more for the working person, and they still are. Well, they're like they've dug their heels in. Well, like that's not true. We still can do what we want, and until they realize they've got to change, they're going to continue to lose support.
I think I agree with you. I think that the Democrats are thinking they'll pick up on the midterms. I think they could be demonstrating their way into losing.
Yeah, well, we'll see. The Republicans don't get any help from the media, and the media most of the media outlets are just, they're not changing either. I mean, it's crazy on what they're doing still. They're still in the same mode.
Sadly,
And,
they're script readers.
I think people are just saying that's enough.
Yeah. So, out in California, the Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was holding a press conference, and the senior senator from California, Alex Padilla, showed up, not wearing his security pin, and tried to crash the press conference and demanded the right to speak. And the security reacted and put him on the ground. And then the Democrats on Capitol Hill got all excited about a U.S. senator acting like a jerk, finding himself, in a time when we have a lot of political violence, finding himself face down on the floor.
Well, how about Minneapolis or Minnesota?
Yeah.
Killing politicians.
2 dead. The senior Democratic Labor Party rep in the legislature was shot and killed along with her husband, and a Republican in the state Senate was shot along with his spouse.
And there's rumors going around, it's all because he didn't like how he voted.
Yep.
Okay, so if you listen to this is 3 different people said in text. If you listen to the lame media, they keep saying peaceful protest. The politicians promise all this stuff to their citizens, then give the newcomers everything. They're going to be a problem for the Democrats. Moving right along here, slide this guy up. They've been telling us for 40 years that Iran is close to having a nuclear weapon. Great show today. The big red dog is putting the work in. That's referring to Cliff. And Cliff, I fully support Israel. Crippling Iran's nuclear capabilities. My point is exactly what you said. Mr. Out of the deal. This guy hates Trump, so you have to realize he wakes up every morning, and there's a hatred to Trump. It's too bad. Trump, who claims to be the top-notch negotiator, turned out to be just the opposite. Hopefully, what's happening between Israel and Iran doesn't spiral out of control.
I hope so too. Thanks, John. Thanks, John Curtis. So yeah, we have a guy who, in a nonpartisan way, is shooting up legislators and their spouses. He got arrested, and so we'll see what his real story is. His name is Vance Bolter. He's 57 years old. John McDonough's age.
Google birds.
And so Senator Cory Booker said, the context and rhetoric and actions that spawn violence too should not be tolerated. I'm not sure what Cory Booker's talking about there. We don't know the context, and yeah, we should stand by to find out what that is. But I think that there's a lot of this going on. A North Carolina state rep has called for President Trump to be beheaded. That wasn't very good. This was while she was attending the No Kings protest in North Carolina. Julia Von Heffen.
I would think that the Secret Service needs to have a talk with her then.
I think that would be appropriate, yes. Then, I mean, did you see where the woman from New Jersey has been indicted for trying to rough up the ICE people during a demonstration in New Jersey?
Oh, from that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. This thing, it's funny when you try to enforce the law, all of a sudden they're enforcing the actual law in the books and they're going after actual criminals that have already been, arrested, or they have proof that they did something wrong. And it's funny on how they don't want to have ICE coming in to take people away. And if people were here illegally and they're talking about ripping them from the families, they broke the law. I mean, look at what they've done with people when Trump was in office before. They went to people's houses and arrested them or took them away. That one congressperson or whatever, that they were on vacation and they went and took his phone and all that. So if they hadn't let the people in to begin with, they wouldn't have to be going after people like this. And, if I broke the law and they came and took me out of my home because I broke the law, nobody'd be getting upset at what they did with me because I broke the law. So, I mean, they wouldn't have to do this if they hadn't let all these people in to begin with. So,
Something that I find interesting, reading Jake Tapper's book about the Biden administration, he says that President Biden came in with the intention of fixing the border. And then nothing happened.
Yeah, that's rich. That's real rich. It's just, they had no intention. If they had intention of doing anything, why would they let those millions of people in? They're figuring once they're here that in the past nobody's gotten taken away. Nobody had the backbone to do what Trump's having done. That they were going to stay here, and then they could get in here and become citizens. If they could keep power long enough, they would be able to get enough to pass something to make them all become citizens. And then they would all vote for them. They'd have eternal power. And they found out that that's not what people are thinking. But they're still in denial. They're in total denial.
Yeah. Well, there's no doubt we've had a surge of political violence. Mr. Rodriguez from Chicago executing the 2 Israeli embassy employees. I understand that he shot the female and she was trying to crawl away and he walked over and emptied his magazine into her. That's kind of ugly. Luigi Mangione going out and killing the healthcare CEO one morning just because he's unhappy with healthcare. And we had 2 attempts on candidate Trump. That's not good. None of that's good.
No, we need to. But the problem is people, they can't talk to each other anymore. If you're one, it's either one way or the other. I mean, I try to talk with people, and it's amazing how dug in they are. And when I try to talk to them about facts, it's all emotional. They can't cite facts. They can't cite solid reasons. It's just that, we don't like Trump. So it doesn't matter what he does. They just don't like him. Well, I didn't like some of the stuff Biden did, but that didn't mean I didn't think some of the stuff he did was okay. And he's still the president. But, it's just scary that people, families and that, they, don't even talk to anybody anymore. So
it's very sad.
I've got to run because we got to leave. So I will see you guys in 3 weeks from today, I think, right?
Yep.
Hey, tomorrow City Life, we're going to have Bobby Hoey, Tom Baumel, Karen Sanella, and Artie Santos. That's tomorrow City Life.
Good luck on your game. John, we have a show Friday, right?
Yes, we do.
Great. And that's it, folks. Thank you very much for listening, for texting in. I like the interchange with the text, so have a good week.
See you
Bye-bye.
tomorrow. Thanks.